Our album of the week this week is FLM by Mel and Kim, and Kim Appleby is here in the studio with me right now. Hello, Kim.
Hello, Sarah. Thank you for having me.
I loved you girls.
Did you really?
Oh, God, I loved you so much.
Oh, bless you.
I just thought you were so cool. So we're going to chat about FLM, which stands for Fun, Love and Money, except it doesn't, does it? Half and half.
Yes, we had. I can't say it on air though because you'll be taken off of it.
Yes.
But yes, it does stand for something else.
Because when you were working in studio with Stock Aitken and Waterman, there was a phrase which was flipping. What was
lovely,
it?
Mate.
Flipping lovely, mate.
Exactly.
And this was this a phrase that was just banded around?
It was a phrase that was always used, and it was done in a fun way.
Yeah.
And then one day we turned up at the studio, Mel and I, and that's when you had the screens and stuff, and up there was FLM, and we were like, "Oh, what's that?" And Mike Stock turned to us and went, "Flipping lovely, mate." And we all burst out laughing. We was like, "We can't sing a song called Flipping Lovely, Mate." And then he said, no, FLM, fun, love and money. So
beautiful.
Very clever, I thought.
I love a little story like that. The album, did so well, written and produced by Stock Aitken and Waterman, and peaked at number 3 on the UK albums chart in 1987. It was certified platinum. It was in the UK charts for 25 weeks. It did well in Germany, got to number 4 in Switzerland, in the Netherlands it did well, Sweden, Norway. I'm trying to not do the accents for each one. In the Netherlands, Australia, it went down. It was good in Australia, mate.
Australia loved it, actually. Yeah.
New Zealand got to number 2. So you girls, you were doing pretty well with this album.
And plus we had the 2 number 1 dance singles in America in the Billboard. Yeah, there wasn't many places left that we hadn't touched, really. Yeah. Japan was just starting to happen for us as well, but obviously Mel got ill. Well, we did do the trip to Japan, but we didn't get to do what we needed to do. So,
and was it during that trip that she started to get, was it terrible backache because that's where the cancer was?
Exactly, yeah. She was suffering with back pain, but we just thought it was because we were doing so many dance routines, we were heavily choreographed and didn't really, just thought she'd pulled a muscle. But I think when we got to Japan, I felt that something wasn't right here, and what should have been, I think, a 10-day trip turned into 3 weeks because we couldn't move Mel.
No.
And that's when I knew something was seriously wrong. This wasn't anything to do with dance routine. So.
And because she'd had cancer before and she'd fought it successfully.
Yeah, she had liver cancer before. She had the liver cancer when she was about 18, and they removed the cancer. And I think she should have followed. She was supposed to follow up on radiation, and I think Mel, being Mel and young, just wanted to get out of the hospital, was feeling great. She recovered so quickly. It was incredible. And then, it came back around 2.5 years later.
And then she passed away January of 1990.
She did.
Now, a young person dying is always so cruel and so horrific, but it seems it's particularly crueler because you girls, your star was just on the rise, wasn't it? And you were just about to take over the world.
I know. And what's incredible as well, Sarah, is you see that, I think there's about 5 releases that came off of FLM, or 4, and then we did That's the Way It Is. We only appeared in 2 videos.
Did you daydream about what you and Mel would have gone on to have done together and all your ambitions? Because in all the interviews, what really comes across, is this incredible confidence that you both seem to have. And you were young feminists. You just seem like you wanted to have fun and you just believed that you could do it, and you were independent young girls. Where did that come from?
I think it came from our upbringing, basically, being born in Hackney, East London, being in the clubs. We were streetwise girls, basically, and I think that's why it worked so much for Stock Aitken and Waterman. I think they just couldn't believe how loud we were, and just kind of quite sure of ourselves and stuff. And then they went back, and Pete Waterman was the one that said to Mike, we have to write something tough for these girls, and that's when they wrote Showing Out, Get Fresh at the Weekend. And then the same happened with Respectable, and as you know, FLM. So the stuff was written around us, and I think it's because of our personalities. It was, we came from East London.
Pete Waterman talks about you in such a gorgeous way about you girls. I
Bless
mean,
him.
I think he just loved you, and he just loved the energy. And he said in one of the interviews I read, he said without Mel and Kim there wouldn't be a Stock Aitken and Waterman, because the stuff that they did with you just really got them out there and really made people sit up
we
and
gave
take
them their
notice.
first #1 as well.
Yeah.
And I like to think that, when we went to the studio, when we first met them, it was very basic, the studio. I mean, there was actually a hole in one of these staircase. As you was going up the stairs, there was a hole where, they were waiting to have that fixed. And Pete turned to Mel and I and said, watch that kid. There was some discs, obviously, but it was quite quiet. We were spoilt in a way because we had them to ourselves. So when the kind of hit factory came along, by that time we kind of had taken a back seat because Mel was ill. So we became spectators. All of a sudden we were like, where do all these people, the Kylie, Jason's. Rick was around with us and Bananarama, I think. But, from...
It was like a revolving door, basically,
oh my gosh,
wasn't
it was so much. And we were spectators to it all.
We're going to play Showing Out, Get Fresh at the Weekend.
Oh, my favourite Mel and Kim track.
Is it really?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Why?
Because it's tough. It's got this kind of streetness about it. Also, the clothes that we wear in the video were our own clothes. Because there was no budget. We were signed to an indie label, right down to the jewellery. We choreographed the dance routine ourselves in my living room, back in Hackney.
Nice.
There's something just really organic about Showing Out for me. I absolutely love that track.
OK, we're going to play it now. Is there any chance you could teach me the dance routine during the record?
Why not, Sarah?
OK,
Of
let's
course.
do it. We're going to do it.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
This is another dream come true on this show. Let's play now. Showing Out, Get Fresh at the Weekend for Mel and Kim. And we will be back with Kim in just a little while. Dance routine there. Joanne Palmer's eating her breakfast in Australia, and she says simply, Tay, 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 Tay. I'm with you, girl. More from Kim Appleby in just a little while. Hi to Louise VC Jones, who says, back in the 80s, we pulled up with some traffic lights in London and my dad said, oh, look, Mel and Kim in the car next door. Yeah, right, I said to my dad, who thought he's a really funny bloke, and I was a teenager, unimpressed with his japes. But I looked round to find Mel and Kim sat in the black Golf GTI beside us. The windows of their and our car were open. They said, hi, and then sped off as the lights changed. Love that story. Lots of you loving a little bit of Kim as well. She'll return in a while. And on the way next, we're going to have, a track from an album called Our album of the week this week is FLM by Mel and Kim. Kim Appleby is here with us this evening on a Friday night. Thank you for coming in on Friday
you're so
night.
welcome. Thank you for having me.
We've got to talk hats.
Yeah.
Was it a stylist moment, or was it you girls? Did you just have fun getting dressed up?
That purely happened by accident, that look, because we'd just signed to Supreme Records, and the first original cover of Showing Out, which was the single, we shot at Canberra Sands, and we were kind of in this just very drapey fabric with our hair tied on top, and it looked great. And then we had the launch at the Hippodrome. You remember the Hippodrome?
Yes.
We had the launch at the Hippodrome and we turned up separately. And that day I'd had this kind of short jacket on. I wore this belt with these chains hanging. And
Was it like a little bolero type jacket?
Exactly, the bolero type jacket with this hat. And I turned up and Nick Eastwood, who was the MD of Supreme Records, he said, you look great. That's the look. So what we did then... Mel and I went out shopping, got the same hats, the same jackets, reshot the cover for Showing Out, and then it just became kind of iconic. And I think what they loved, if we were on like a billboard poster, you could be a mile away, but you knew it was Mel and Kim.
Yeah.
Because of the hats, and from there it just evolved. Then the gloves came, because you remember the gloves came.
Nice.
And then the big earrings came.
Did you get sent a lot of hats and gloves and earrings?
Once things kind of kicked off and we were too busy, to go to Topshop and get this stuff.
And you probably would have
ourselves.
got mobbed as well
Maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true, actually.
by the Mel and Kimettes. I don't know what your fans would
I love
call.
that, Mel and Kimettes. So
what- so
we
you're
used to get lots of stuff thrown at us,
Yeah.
So if you look at the videos, by the time we get to kind of FLM, the look is still there, but it's a lot more sophisticated. The hats are more expensive,
Yes.
Sarah.
Nice,
Yes.
of course. So hugely popular all around Europe. Did you get to do promo tours around Europe?
My gosh,
Did you find
yes.
yourself on those strange German chat shows, you know?
Yes.
Ich schneiden
Some
dingen
really
dangen.
weird-
And you're playing some weird game and you're just like, what's going on?
No, really, I mean, we did some... Actually, I saw one the other day and I thought that would have been a serious health and safety now. And we were in Germany, I can't remember what part of Germany, but we were at this motorbike...
Like a convention.
Yes, exactly. And then what we had to do was perform the song. And what these motorbikes were doing is they were coming up the ramp. I swear, this is not a lie. They were coming up the ramp and they were just flying past our heads.
Amazing.
And when I think now, that would never happen now. It was scary back then.
Gosh, the paperwork for that. Can you imagine? We had to fill out about 5 forms here. Do you remember? Didn't we have a toaster once and then they took it away because it set off some sort of smoke
I don't
alarm?
think there was any paperwork back
do.
then, so no.
Amazing to do all this with your sister. Growing up, were you and Mel really like thick as thieves together growing up?
Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot of pressures if you're going to be a pop star, and there's a lot of quite strange moments, and who to trust and getting bandied around. But if you're there with a sibling like that, with family, and it must have been nice.
True. No, it's so true, Sarah, because you've hit on something there. Because when Mel passed away and I came back with the solo album, Don't Worry, I was kind of on a mission to show the world that Mel and I had written these songs, and it was kind of a tribute. It wasn't a kind of... It was a tribute to my sister. But what I forgot about was the travelling.
Yeah.
And that's when it really, really hit me that I was a solo artist and just how much we all missed her. And I remember just travelling Europe and just sitting in hotel rooms on my own. And that was, back when Mel was with us, would be in the hotel ordering, room service, flicking through the channels, laughing, cracking jokes.
Yeah.
Be
almost like having your other half there, your other,
exactly. So,
and then with them not being there, you did have a couple of songs that did really well with your solo stuff. Was your heart not in it, or did you just do a couple of songs and then you just moved on?
To be honest with you, the first album for me, I kind of achieved what I wanted to do because, as I said, it was a tribute to my sister. By the second album, I think I didn't enjoy it so much. I also didn't... For me, I'd kind of done what I wanted to do. I didn't enjoy travelling alone as well.
No, were you not kind of grieving as well, looking back? Because you were so young yourself as well.
Right,
to then be far away from home and from other family.
I took the time, actually. I think that's what I probably needed by the second album.
Yeah.
Because I'd done what I wanted to do with the first. But obviously, when you're signed to a label... it's all kind of like, we need the next album. So the second album, as much as I'm proud of the songs and I wrote with some great people, by that time I kind of wanted a rest. I wanted to take time out, to be honest with you, and that's exactly what I did.
Well, you're back with some new music in between. I mean, if we can sum up the years in between that and now, it's quite a lot. But you're a mum. You're involved heavily with the Ivor novellas, aren't you? You do writing for other artists. I mean, you've kept yourself pretty busy. But so how exciting is it to be back with this song, which I really love? We're going to play a snippet of it, actually. Here it is.
What's not to love? What's not to like? When I look at the stars, how they shine so bright. When I dip in a river or swim in the sea. When I walk through the mountains, feel the breeze. When I see the sun shining through the trees. What's not to love? What's not to love?
What's Not to Love from Kim Appleby. And what is not to love about that song?
Oh, bless you.
Is it lovely to be back? How did it happen and how does it feel?
This was very strange because even though, I stopped being an artist, I was writing because I love the creative process. That's what I really, really love. But you get used to not being out there and you get used to the quietness, to be honest with you, because we really was famous. I don't like the word, but we really, really was famous, and it was just nice to take that time out. So with this, it was very strange. I was approached by Dominic King, who's a great writer, wrote for Sister Sledge, Shaka Khan, and he approached me, and he was like, "Would you fancy writing some songs?" And I was like, "Okay, I'll do it, but I don't want to be pressured. I said, if we do it, we really have to take our time and blah, blah. And he said, no worries. And anyway, 16 tracks later, we've written an album. But do you know what was great, Sarah? I'm so used to being kind of signed to a label where you're told that we need an album, we need the first single. And what was great about this, it wasn't like, okay, now we're going to sit down and we're going to write an album and then we're going to think about the first single and we're going to set the world alight again. It was more like, do you fancy doing some songwriting?
Yeah. Now, Respectable became a UK #1 single for a week in March of 1987.
Before Mel and Kim, Mel had done some glamour modelling.
Yeah.
The pictures are broken.
So the
and it
press
was
had
everywhere.
said, we've got these pictures of Mel, like,
Yes.
you know, glamour shots, nudie shots.
Yeah.
And they were hoping to sort of trip you guys up with it a little bit.
Oh,
and
for sure. That was the whole thing. It was to throw us. And
Yeah.
I think that Pete and the boys couldn't believe, because when we turned up at the studio, you knew they'd all bought a copy. You know, it was like, here she comes. You know? And they couldn't believe that it was like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Mel's attitude was just amazing, because there was no way we could change it. She couldn't change it. And we just shrugged it off, really. And I think they were just amazed at the attitude.
We're going to play Respectable now, which I know is a song that loads of people love. I mean,
This is
you know,
great.
it's just such a good tune. Kim Appleby, it's been so lovely to meet you and to chat to you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Sarah.
Hey,